GoGeekGirl is here today with dynamic music partners who have taken some time out of their San Diego Comic-Con to have a chat and answer some questions for our fans. Lolita Ritmanis. And of course, I'm going to get these backwards now. Chris Carter. Nope, that one. Backwards. Told you. And Michael, and I can't do your last name.
That's all right. It's Michael McCuistion.
McCuistion.
You
Why
got
do I
it.
keep wanting to stick an L in your last name?
R's, L's, P's. I've had it all.
That's why I kind of, with my last name,
Yeah.
I know the problems. So I know you guys are all getting the same kind of questions, especially seeing as we just haven't gotten to play it, can't stick it in any of these devices. Batman the Killing Joke, which obviously is going to be your big thing this weekend at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And then looking at pretty much everything you guys have been doing, not everything, but the majority, seems to be in animation, a lot of it with DC.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you guys get tied up, or not tied up, but involved with DC to do animation for them?
Well, I think many years ago we met on the Batman in the Animated series when we were working with Shirley Walker. She had hired us independently because she'd hired so many composers to work with her on that series. And so we were working with her on that series, and eventually as things filtered down through the years, we ended up realizing that we were the only ones left working with her. Well, no, she had a process where she actually weeded out people and wanted to create a team of people that could move forward with the show.
It was excellent, and she at a certain point passed the baton and said, or threw us out of the nest. Said, "Okay, time for you to fly."
Yep.
And we really enjoyed working with one another, and we thought we would band together and sort of formalize that relationship.
Which kind of leads me to the next thing. Most of the composers I've spoken to over the last few years work independently. Your team is a little different because you guys are a partnership. So how does that work? Do you go off and do your own thing? Do you collaborate on almost all the projects?
I think that the pressures on composers in post-production schedules are so tight right now that even when you have kind of a visionary figure that's kind of the one composer, there's a ton of people that are working with him. Everybody has a team. It's just required. And we thought from the beginning that we wanted to tell our clients, this is the team you're getting. And so it was really more about presenting the three of us together.
We, when we work on a project together, we can do it so many different ways. Most often we split up the different musical cues throughout the show, and we'll try to make it as even as possible, the number of minutes that we each write, but we each write simultaneously, and then we share our material simultaneously. So we're all working at the same time. We're all writing in our own studios separate from each other, but we're sharing our material with each other. So that's what kind of creates the synergy between what we do.
And here's the fun part. So let's say you're a director and you have a project that you haven't really shown to anyone and you want to hire a composer. Come to our studios and we will spot the show with you or the film, and we will laugh 3 times louder. We will have 3 times more energy, and you will get all 3 of us working on your project as opposed to just, for instance, me, and I would have my team of support staff. Because it's no secret that the top other composers in the business, they have to have support people that help them. So oftentimes, some of the nuances that maybe show up on the scoring stage, maybe the main composer doesn't even realize what's happened because their orchestrator or their programmer has added something that he or she didn't even approve. So it's you get what you see, and what you see is us.
We're a great audience.
Yeah.
Of course, it's not to say that sometimes I'll show up on the scoring stage, be a little short on sleep, and not recognize anything that I actually wrote.
I think any artist can say that about their work.
True.
You create it, and it's just not what you thought you created.
Well, it comes from some other place. We
Right.
don't know where.
So, because you do share your pieces as you're working, do you find that you're going down one track and then you hear what one of the other team members have done and go, oh wait, I kind of want to change directions with what I'm doing because they're going this direction and I was kind of going over here off to the right instead. Does it impact that at all?
After all this time, I think what happens more often than not is I'll be writing something and I'll end in a certain key, and Lolita will have already written something that I don't have yet, and then we'll put it together and we're in the same key and we didn't even know it.
It just
So it's just like,
it's crazy.
That happens a whole heck of a lot, I have to tell you. It's kind of scary.
It's got to come from working closely together over a number of years. You're not just going to develop that overnight.
And working closely with the producer who has hired us. I mean, it's critical that especially the young directors, producers that are coming up in the business understand. If you just use some sort of a library system where you just try out different music material, you're not going to get that custom attention that will address your particular project. So if we've listened carefully to the director, usually it turns out that we have heard the same thing, and that's why our music does have a cohesive sense to it. So it really comes from the creative person.
Okay, I know we're running low on time, so I have to ask this question. Mark Hamill. I can't do this Killing Joke interview and not ask, what was that like?
Mark Hamill is the question and the answer.
What a sweetheart. He is so nice. But I lost. It's like, oh my God, he is in the studio, and so luckily,
I see a little bit of a fan there.
Yes, luckily I was on the producer side of the glass along with Chris, and we were kind of producing the vocal from on side the glass. But you were in the room with him.
I was on the stage with him because that's how we work. It's good to have somebody on the stage coaching and cueing and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I was a little. But just because of his involvement with Star Wars mostly, but also it was also because of his involvement with Batman the Animated Series, which was my first job and all of our first job as composers. Lolita and Chris and I, that's how we started our careers, and his voice of the Joker was the voice of the Joker when we started. So it was like, oh my God, here I am 25 years later, I finally get to meet the person who's been living inside my head all this time. And so that was fantastic. But he was wonderful. He just absolutely embodies that character, and the performance of that voice is so physical. And I mean, it involves the muscles of his eyes. It's like down to the minutia of the way he performs that character. It was really quite something to watch, and I just thought it was fantastic to work with him.
Anything you want to add to that at all?
Oh gosh, he was so professional and so prepared, and it was such a joy to work with him.
Because I know we're running low on time, is there anything you guys would like to share with our listeners/readers?
Just come to our website or follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and we love our fans, and we love to we communicate with our fans. We'll respond, we'll write back. We hear you, and we really appreciate all the support that we've had from the fans all these years.
Yeah, absolutely. The internet's just a phenomenal thing, because for many years we didn't even know who was listening to our music, if anyone. But now we're able to connect with everyone, and that's really terrific.
DynamicMusicPartners.com. It's also that on Facebook.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay.